stranger slept on a park bench until a businessman dropped a bag beside him and said, "This is yours." The night air over Boston carried a cold bite, the kind that slipped under coats and pressed into bones. Ethan Carter pulled his threadbare blanket tighter around his shoulders as he sat hunched on the park bench. The wooden slats dug into his back, but it was the only place he had left. Around him, the city glowed with office lights, car horns, and the hum of people heading home. To Ethan, it felt like a stage he had been pushed off, left watching the performance from the shadows. 4 months ago, he had been a junior architect at a respected firm. He knew floor plans, design software, deadlines that stretched into dawn. But when the company downsized, his name was among the dozens on the cut list. Savings lasted for a little while. Job applications filled his laptop until the internet got cut off. Then came late rent, eviction notices, and the slow, humiliating slide to nowhere. His family lived 2 states away, and pride kept him from calling. He told himself he'd figure it out. 1 night became 2, then weeks of folding himself on that park bench, learning the rhythms of the city at night, learning which corners were safest. He rubbed his hands together, his breath fogging the air. Hunger gnawed at him constantly, worse than the cold. He hadn't eaten since a soup kitchen lunch the day before. As he lowered his head, he heard footsteps. Firm, steady, not the shuffle of another person like him, but the click of polished shoes on pavement. Ethan looked up. A man in a dark gray suit walked briskly along the path. His coat looked expensive, his scarf neatly draped, his stride purposeful. Ethan braced himself for the usual glance away, the silent reminder that he was invisible. But the man slowed. His eyes, sharp and assessing, landed on Ethan. He hesitated, then adjusted his path. He walked directly to the bench, his shoes crunching over the gravel. Ethan straightened, unsure whether to shrink away or hold his ground. The man carried a leather briefcase in one hand and a black duffel in the other. When he stopped in front of Ethan, his expression was unreadable. "This is yours," the man said simply, lowering the duffel bag to the ground beside the bench. Ethan blinked. What?" "This bag," the man repeated, setting it down as if it weighed nothing. "It belongs to you." Before Ethan could ask, the man straightened, adjusted his scarf, and walked away without looking back. For a moment, Ethan thought it was a trick, some cruel joke. His heart raced as he stared at the bag. It was sturdy, zipped tight with no markings. He reached down slowly, fingers trembling. Inside was money. Stacks of bills, banded neatly. The sight so unreal that Ethan pulled his hand back like it had burned him. He looked around wildly, half expecting hidden cameras, half expecting police to descend. But the park was nearly empty. Just a jogger passing in the distance, a couple walking with their dog. He leaned closer, unzipping further. Money filled most of the bag, but tucked among the stacks was an envelope with his name written in sharp, clean handwriting. Ethan Carter. His pulse hammered. How did this stranger know his name? With shaking hands, Ethan opened the envelope. A single sheet of paper rested inside. "Ethan, this is not an accident. You are being given a chance. Do not waste it. Instructions will follow. M." His chest tightened. Fear, confusion, and something else, hope, clashed inside him. Who was M? How did they know him? And why would anyone leave such a fortune with a man sleeping on a park bench? Ethan shoved the envelope back into the bag and zipped it shut. Every instinct screamed at him to hide it, to run, to protect it. But where could he go? He had no apartment, No car, no place to lock this bag away. He clutched the duffel against his chest, scanning the shadows. The night suddenly felt alive with unseen eyes. An older man with a beanie shuffled past, eyeing the bag. Ethan's grip tightened. He stood abruptly, deciding he couldn't stay here. He began walking toward the bus station, even though he had nowhere to take a bus to. Each step felt weighted with both dread and possibility. As he passed under a street lamp, he replayed the man's words in his head. "This is yours." It made no sense, but neither did his life these past months. He ducked into an all-night diner, sliding into a booth in the back corner. The waitress gave him a wary glance, likely noticing his worn clothes. But he ordered the cheapest coffee on the menu, just to have a reason to sit. With shaking hands, he pulled out the envelope again. The handwriting was neat, deliberate, almost like blueprints. The note was short, but it carried weight. "You are being given a chance." What kind of chance? His stomach growled, the smell of burgers and fries making him dizzy. For a reckless moment, he thought of pulling a bill from the bag and ordering a full meal. But fear stopped him. What if the bills were marked? What if spending them brought trouble? His coffee arrived, steaming. He wrapped his hands around the mug, trying to think. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. Ethan froze. He hadn't had service in weeks. The battery had been dead for days. But now, lying on the table where he'd left it, the screen glowed bright. A new message appeared from an unknown number. "Do not open the bag again until morning. Trust me. Finish your coffee, then leave." Ethan's mouth went dry. Someone was watching. He glanced around the diner, but the only customers were a trucker eating pie and a couple whispering in a booth. The waitress scribbled behind the counter. No one seemed to be paying attention to him. He looked back at the phone, then at the bag beside him. His pulse thundered in. For the first time in months, Ethan felt like the world was shifting under his feet, not just crushing him, but pulling him towards something bigger. He whispered to himself, "What have I just stepped into?" The coffee steamed between his palms. The bag rested by his side like a bomb waiting to go off. And somewhere in the city, someone named M was watching his every move. The coffee cooled while Ethan sipped, eyes flicking between the duffel and the window. The phone had gone dark again, as if the message were a dream. He turned it over, found nothing, and laughed at the idea he'd even know what to find. He left 2 crumpled dollars and his last coins under the mug. The waitress saw the tremor in his hands and said, "Take care, honey." Outside, wind cut the avenue. He hugged the bag and walked to a church that opened early. A cardboard sign promised community breakfast at 7. The warning circled in his mind. "Do not open the bag until morning." It was 3:21. ... He sat on the stoop with the duffel on his lap. Sleep came in thin strips. When a pale stripe of dawn appeared, a woman with silver hair propped the door. "Breakfast downstairs," she said. He followed coffee and toast into a room of folding tables. He chose a corner and kept the bag between his feet. A volunteer slid him eggs, toast, and a banana. His phone buzzed. "There is a bank at Tremont and Arlington. When it opens, enter with the bag. Ask for Olivia Ward. Say your name. Do not show the money unless asked." No one looked his way. He ate, pocketed the banana, and left. The bank's brass doors opened at 8. He told the receptionist, "I'm looking for Olivia Ward. I was told to ask for her." The receptionist checked a screen. "One moment, Mr. Carter." A frosted door led to a small conference room. A woman in her 40s entered, charcoal suit, a tiny lighthouse pin. "I'm Olivia," she said. "You must be Ethan." Her eyes dipped to the duffel. "You brought it." "A man left it by me," Ethan said. "He said it was mine. I didn't steal it, and I haven't spent anything." "I believe you," she said. She set a folder on the table. "Do you know Marcus Hale?" Ethan frowned. A headline name: Tech, Philanthropy, Neighborhoods. "He funds a private program for people knocked flat," Olivia said. "It isn't publicized. It tests responsibility and willingness. Most people who find a bag like that panic or go wild. A few follow instructions. Fewer ask for help. You did both. So this is a test? An invitation," she said, "with terms. The money will move to an account in your name if you agree to guidelines. You'll have a mentor and obligations. This isn't charity, it's partnership." "What obligations?" "First, stabilization, housing, healthcare, documents. Second, contribution. Work where your skills matter. You trained as an architect. How do you know that?" "We do our homework," she said. His phone buzzed. "You're safe with Olivia. Ask to see the map." Olivia unfolded a neighborhood plan. Blocks shaded with notes. Community center renovation. Tiny homes pilot. River walkway. "Marcus wants to hire residents to repair their own neighborhood," she said. "He needs people who understand space and people. We plan to approach you in 2 weeks." He accelerated. "Why me?" Ethan asked. "Because you're skilled," Olivia said. "And because you stayed decent while invisible. Someone noticed. If I say yes, we open an account, sign a 12-week contract, and move the funds. You'll meet a counselor, Maya Bennett, at 2. You'll get a room at a partner residence tonight. A project manager, Wade Ellison, will brief you tomorrow at 8. Rules are simple. No illegal activity, basic sobriety, weekly check-ins, transparency with your mentor. After 12 weeks, options, employment, training, or a funded microventure. If you say no, you leave with bus fare and a card. No shame. The cash stays here. He felt 2 roads split inside him. One was familiar in its hurt. The other was frightening and bright. He looked at the duffel, then the map, then Olivia. "Okay," he said. "Yes." "Good," she said. She slid a form across the table. "Print your name. This starts the account." He signed. "We'll transfer the contents of the bag to a traceable account," she said. "You'll get a temporary card now, a permanent one later. The cash will not leave this room. Acceptable?" "Yes," he said, relieved. "Here's a phone," Olivia added, taking a small box from a drawer. "Prepaid with contacts loaded. Your old number still works, but this is for program use." "He's the one texting me?" "He prefers to watch before he speaks," she said. "You'll meet him if you keep going." A bank assistant brought a card envelope. "Limit is set to essentials for now," Olivia said. "Room, food, clothing, transit. It opens wider when you start work." "Thank you," Ethan said. "Don't thank me," she said. "Make it count." She offered a small schedule. Morning worksite, afternoon counseling or training, evenings free with curfew, contact numbers, an address on Fairfield Street. "Show this at the front desk. Your room is ready." His phone buzzed. A final text. "Look up when you leave. The sky is clear." Outside, winter blue spread clean over the city. The day felt aligned with him. On the sidewalk, a man paused. "Mr. Carter," the man said. "Walk with me," he said. "To the corner." "Are you Marcus Hale?" Ethan asked. The man's mouth twitched. "I am," he said. "I meant it when I said the bag was yours. What matters now is what you build with what's inside it." "It's not cash anymore," Ethan said. "Good," Marcus said. "Cash is noisy. Plans are quieter." They moved with commuters. "Today," Marcus said, Sleep, eat, and listen. Tomorrow, Wade will test you. He's direct. Earn his trust by showing up. Why me? Ethan asked again. Because you kept sketching in your head after the world told you to quit, Marcus said. And because you didn't open the bag again when it would have been easy. Restraint is rarer than talent. The crosswalk flashed white. Marcus stepped into the flow and was gone. Ethan turned toward Fairfield Street, not to hide a bag, but to claim a key. Ethan reached the residence on Fairfield around noon. A brick building with stoops worn smooth. The front desk clerk, an older woman with quick eyes, read his intake sheet and handed him a key on a plastic tag. Room 3B. Fresh towels. Quiet hours at 10. A bulletin board listed job postings, free clinics, a tenant's potluck. He stood there, surprised by the ordinary kindness of a place that expected him to stay. The room was small and clean. A bed, a desk, a window framing elm branches. He set the program phone on the desk and fell asleep. When he woke, it was 1:55. He hustled to the counseling office. A bell chimed. The waiting room smelled of oranges. A woman with coiled hair and a denim jacket stepped out and smiled. "Ethan, I'm Maya." She led him to a sunlit office with a single photograph of a wooden bridge. "Tell me how you got here," she said. He talked until he was hoarse. Layoffs, pride, the bench, the bag. When he finished, Maya slid him water. "You weren't broken," she said. "You were isolated. We fix isolation with people. I'll see you twice a week. Practical steps and the grief you can't name yet. Tomorrow morning, Wade Ellison will do site orientation. He's prickly. If anything feels wrong, speak up. This is power with, not power over." He ate by the river. His new phone buzzed. Site briefing, 8 a.m., Piermont Community Center. He thumbed back. Confirmed. The community center squatted at the edge of a lot. Inside, a tall man with a shaved head and a field jacket studied a clipboard. "Carter?" he asked. "Yes," Ethan said. "Wade Ellison, foreman. Vest and hard hat, there." Wade ran through safety, crews, timelines. A whiteboard listed tasks: roof framing, window rehabs, dance floor, kitchen demo. "You say you're an architect," he said. "You fall, bleed, and sweat like everyone. I care about hours and outcomes." "Understood," Ethan said. They walked the site. In the gym, a petite woman with a measuring tape waved. "Tasha Perez," she said. "Carpentry lead. If you slow me down, I will glare, then help you move faster." By noon, Ethan's hands remembered tools: measuring, chalking lines, prying casings so the wood could live twice. The work felt like a weight he had trained to lift. After lunch, a delivery truck backed toward the loading bay. The driver misjudged, bumper kissing the temporary support that held a sagging canopy. Ethan saw the wobble. "Stop!" he shouted. The support shifted. Ethan dashed to the nearest column and braced the diagonal with both palms. Wade and Tasha wedged real supports. The canopy groaned, then settled. The driver killed the engine, pale. Wade's face hardened, then loosened. "Okay," he said, nodding once. "You saw it. Good eyes." "It's what I trained for," Ethan said. "It's what we need." Wade answered. Word moved fast. By late afternoon, crew who had barely spoken to Ethan asked about the bench, the bag, the program. Some looked curious, some skeptical. A young electrician named DeAndre said, "Man, I hope it's real. My cousin signed up for something like that and ended up in a mess." "This isn't that," Ethan said, though he realized he didn't know how he knew. At quitting time, Wade handed him a schedule. Windows with Tasha this week, mornings. Afternoons, draft options for dance room mirrors and storage. Meet me at 7:30. 5-minute meetings. On the walk back, he passed a second-hand bookstore and bought a sketch pad and a pencil. In his room, he drew the canopy as it had leaned, the emergency bracing, the better bracing they installed. Drawing steadied him. His old phone vibrated. A text with a hometown area code. Abby. His sister. Months ago, she had left a voicemail. He had answered with silence. Now, are you safe? I am. I have a room. I have work. Can we talk soon? Okay. Tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow. The week found a rhythm. Mornings with Tasha, afternoons with sketches, evenings with Maya. Wade's 5-minute meetings became 10 as they argued about window salvage, insulation values, and the joy quotient of a dance floor. DeAndre told bad jokes. A retired teacher named Mrs. Kendrick brought cookies and a clipboard of neighbors willing to paint. We'll need them soon, Ethan told her. Every day, the building clarified what to rescue, what to replace, what to reimagine so the neighborhood felt invited to belong. One evening, rain blew slant across the street. Ethan rounded a corner and felt that old fear prickle. A man leaned against a lamppost. The same gray scarf, the same stillness. Marcus. He pointed his chin toward the river. They walked without speaking until the city thinned. You're doing the work, Marcus said. Good. Why hide? Ethan asked. Why not explain everything in an office? Because power behaves differently on paper than on sidewalks, Marcus said. And because I wanted to see how you respond to being watched without being rescued. And if I had failed? We would have tried again with someone else, Marcus said, but you didn't. They stopped at the railing. In 2 weeks, a developer will file to buy the north lot and wall off the center with a micro-hotel, Marcus said. I won't block it with lawyers. You and your team will have to beat it with people. How? Show the board and the city this place already belongs to the public. Organize a design open house next Saturday. It has to feel inevitable, like the building is already loved. Ethan saw flyers, tables, foam models, kids with crayons, elders with stories. The argument you don't say out loud. Look, it's alive. Can you do it? Marcus asked. With help, Ethan said. Ask for it, Marcus said. And be ready. The developer plays rough. Marcus stepped into the rain until his gray scarf slipped into the weather. And Ethan understood the real test had only begun. He felt both ready and afraid. Ethan spent the night sketching ideas for the open house. He drew table layouts, sample boards of colors, spaces for kids to pin crayon dreams on paper walls. By dawn, his desk was covered in notes. He carried them to the site. We need this place to feel alive before the city votes, he told Wade and Tasha. An open house next Saturday. Neighbors, kids, everyone. Tasha leaned over his sketches. Foam models, drawings, music. People love food. Cookies, DeAndre said. Mrs. Kendrick will make 1,000 if we ask. Wade crossed his arms. Short notice, but better than letting the hotel steal it. Okay, I'll handle permits and logistics. You rally the crew. They divided tasks. Flyers printed at a shop down the block, volunteers chalking sidewalks, local musicians agreeing to play for pizza and gratitude. Maya promised to run a story hour for kids while parents toured. By Saturday, sunlight poured across the lot. Folding tables displayed models and sketches. Kids drew on butcher paper spread across the gym floor. The smell of cookies drifted through the air. Laughter echoed in a building that had once felt hollow. Ethan moved among neighbors, answering questions, handing crayons, explaining window designs. He saw pride in faces that had expected decay. Then he saw the developers arrive. 3 men in sharp suits walked the perimeter, eyes scanning with calculation. One, tall with silver hair, spoke into a phone while watching children paint rainbows on plywood. Ethan stepped closer. Welcome, he said evenly. The man's eyes flicked over him. Mr. Carter, is it? Impressive display. But sentiment doesn't stop progress. Contracts speak louder than crayons. Progress, Ethan said, is people building together. What you see here is ownership money can't buy. The man smirked. City boards respond to influence. Do you have influence? Watch, Ethan said. Silence, then steady applause. The board voted. The hotel proposal failed. The center's restoration was formally recognized as a community-led initiative. Outside, cheers spilled onto the street. Neighbors hugged. DeAndre lifted Ethan's arm in the air like a champion. Marcus appeared at the edge of the crowd. His scarf was damp with drizzle, but his smile was genuine. Well done, he said quietly. We did it. Ethan said, You did, Marcus said. You found the one thing harder than money. Trust. Keep it alive. Months passed. The center reopened with new windows, bright paint, polished floors. Children raced through halls. Elders gathered for classes. Music shook the walls on Friday nights. Ethan designed small add-ons, ramps, reading corners, gardens planted in bright barrels. He moved from the residence into a small apartment nearby. He kept counseling sessions with Maya, phone calls with his sister. Sketches spread across his desk. He had work again, but more than that, he had belonging. On the anniversary of the open house, the community held a celebration. Banners hung from windows, food lined tables, music filled the air. Marcus arrived quietly, as always, but this time stepped onto the stage. 1 year ago, a man on a bench accepted a bag and a chance, he said. He turned it into something none of us could buy. Faith. Ethan, you reminded us that cities aren't built by money alone. They are built by people who refuse to give up on each other. Applause roared. Ethan felt heat rush to his face, but he raised a hand, not in victory, but in gratitude. Later, Marcus joined him by the river. You know this isn't the end, Marcus said. I know, Ethan said. It's the beginning. Then take this, Marcus said, pressing a folded envelope into his hand. Inside was a single key and an address. Another building, another story, bigger, harder, and this time you'll choose your own team. Ethan looked at the key, then at the river that reflected city lights like constellations. I'll be ready. Marcus nodded once and walked away. Ethan held the key. He thought of the bench, the bag, the night he thought his story was over. Now it was only chapter 1. He whispered to the water, This is mine. This is ours. And for the first time, he believed it. Imagine this. A man who once had nothing, on a cold park bench, now holds the key to building futures. Not just for himself, but for an entire community. Because sometimes, the smallest chance, placed in the right hands, can grow into a story that changes everything.